raha tupate na ustawi. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
While we are standing, we will have the IEBC corporate prayer. It's right behind the program. Behind the program. Thank you. The first page. Thank you. Almighty God of all creation, most sovereign, pure and merciful, we are grateful for the privilege to serve our motherland. We acknowledge you and pray that you order as we strive to deliver on our constitutional mandate. As we commit to serve our beloved country, Kenya, enable us meet the democratic aspirations of the people of this country. Almighty God, we pray that you guide the work of our hands, that we may foster sustainable democracy in our country. Bless Kenya, bless this commission, and grant us peace, love, and unity now and forevermore. Thank you. Let's be seated. My name is Tabitha Mutemi from IEBC. Allow me to recognize the presence of the chairman of Haida Wafula Chebukati, the vice chairperson of IEBC, Madam Juliana Cherera, and all the commissioners of IEBC, and the CEO of IEBC, Mr. Marijan, Hussein Marijan, as the hosts of this function. Allow me also to recognize the presence of Justice Njoki Ndungu, UNDP Resident Representative Anthony Ngoro Rano, Deputy UNDP Resident Representative, all members of the diplomatic community, embassies present, the ambassadors who are here, our international guests, the panelists who are here, and other distinguished invited guests, all protocol observed. Feel most welcome and appreciated to be with us in this National Election Conference 2022. We also have the general election presidential candidates with us. Feel most welcome. I will invite my running mate, my co-moderator, James Smart of NTV.
Thank you very much. I appreciate and accept this nomination for your running mate. And I want to welcome you all into the National Election Conference 2022. Karibuni sana. Thank you very much for braving the weather. Thank you very much for being here, because this is an important day in our election calendar. Now, we've already heard from the choir, but I'd like us to start us off from this in a very smooth way. And I have a group of talented people. They're called Talanta Group, Bartolomeo and Valerie. They're university students, and they want to start us off with the spoken words. Valerie and Bartholomew, the stage is yours.
Our dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bartholomew and my colleague is Valerie. We are university students in Kenya and we are going to present a spoken word piece for you. The spoken word piece is with the title, Election Bila Noma. Your vote, your future. Welcome.
I'm excited.
Why?
Because it is my first time to vote, and I can't wait to place my hands on the Kim's kits. I know my hands are rough, but there are 6 Kim's kits in every polling station, and therefore one must definitely accept my hands.
I am also happy.
But why?
Because of the referee IEBC's independency, inclusivity, accountability, and preparedness. Si mnaona ballot papers zikifika. And so we are ready for a transparent, efficient, and impartial election that meets the democratic aspirations of the Kenyan people. Your vote, your future. So tunataka election bila noma. Change bila fujo na vioja. So before they brew concussions and emotions rise like thorns in roses, they strike the flesh, you realize your tribe, you strike your neighbor's neck. Because of lies, they've brewed lies. They force-fed us lies that have flooded our veins, our brains are strangled in pain, you run insane. You forget what unites us as a country. You realize your tribe. You abandon the flag for knighthoods of your tribe. So before that, let our leaders not play tricks that will turn us into ticks. So when you tick that ballot paper in that secret ballot, remember your vote is your future. Your vote will define your future. So when you vote, go home. Don't roam around that polling room. Don't fall for inciters, bileful politicians. Tell them, Mr. Politician, don't give me money to fight for your honey. Give me work like a bee and I'll make my own honey. So Mr. Politician, don't give me money to fight for your honey. Give me work like a bee and I'll make my own honey.
I trust the referee to conduct a fair election. Juu hajakula fair, simnaona ballot papers zikifika, and therefore I will wake up early in the morning, go to the polling station and do my work. I want this election to unite every section of this nation. Election that is beautiful and peaceful like the sunset. Election that is free, fair and efficient. Election bila noma.
Election bila fujo wala vioja. Your vote, your future. What is peace?
To me, peace is a smile, a laugh, a freedom to do what I want right, and to mind what I say.
To me, peace is a feeling that feels fresh and succulent like the taste of the earth's richness.
And therefore, peace should be eternal, before, during, and even after election.
Peace is when our leaders urge their supporters to accept the results of a free, fair, credible, and verifiable election.
And that is why we say,
election bila noma, election bila fujo wala vioja. Your vote, your future.
With the spirit of Arambe, I stand together to say, on the 9th of August, let's build our country, Kenya.
Let us arise above all odds. 22 million plus voters. Come one, come all.
As one, we will build. Divided, we tear apart. Let us all come and make our future. My vote, my
vote, our future. So help us God.
Thank you.
A better hand of applause for Bartholomew and Valerie. Thank you very much. Your vote, your future. Allow me also to appreciate the presence of all our development partners. LGR, they are here, EKS, IFES, and Uraia. Let's give them a hand of applause. Before you is the public service choir with Mwalimu Wasonga. So Mwalimu Wasonga will give us one song. Mwalimu Wasonga is very popular for, I'm sure, okay, and many others. Thank you very much.
Kura imefika, 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 kura imefika.
Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu. Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu.
Kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu, tujitokeze tuweze kupiga kura.
Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu. Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu.
Akina mama na baba hata vijana, tujitokeze tuweze kupiga kura.
Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu. Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu.
Kura imefika, kura imefika, kura imefika, kura imefika.
Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu. Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu.
Wakenya wote twataka maendeleo, tupige kura tupate huduma bora.
Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu. Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu.
Popote Kenya jamani, tuna jukumu, tupige kura tulinde katiba yetu.
Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu. Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu. Kura imefika, 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 kura imefika. Njooni nyote wa Kenya tupige kura, kupiga kura mwenzangu ni haki yetu.
Mwalimu Wasonga and the public service choir. A better round of applause for Mwalimu and the choir.
Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda. Kenya hii tunayoipenda. Kenya hii tunayoipenda. Wajivunia sana tukijiita Kenya, nchi yenye
Election Conference, again to appreciate our development partners, UNDP, LGR, ICEX, IFES, and URAIA. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium IEBC Vice Chair, Madam Juliana Cherara, to make her open as the VC comes to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you, James Smart, or rather, the running mate of someone. Okay, it is the season. The young people, election bila noma. Basically, it means peaceful election. So the chairman of IEBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the vice chairperson, Election Commission of South Africa, Janet Love, the representative of Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya, Justice Njoki Ndungu, the 2022 general election presidential candidates, the chairman of the Constitutional Commissions and Independent Offices chairperson, who is also the chairperson of National Lands Commission, Dr. Gershom Otachi, EU Ambassador to Kenya, Excellent Geiger, UK High Commissioner to Kenya, Jane Marriott, Representative, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations System in Kenya, Ms. Laureen Randis, fellow commissioners, esteemed stakeholders and partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Commission to extend a warm welcome to all of us, especially the international guests who are here today from all over the world and the African continent. Not forgetting the local guests and, indeed, our esteemed stakeholders and partners from our beautiful land of Kenya. We at IEBC are delighted and honored to have you present here today because we value our stakeholders. As we officially begin this conference, allow me to give the general objectives of the conference. The 2022 National Election Conference, under the theme, Moving Kenya to a Stronger Democracy, has been planned to give a platform for information sharing among stakeholders that will contribute to successful delivery of 2022 general election. There are three main objectives. One is to share experiences, and that's why we've brought all of you here today, so that we can share experiences on the conduct and management of election. Objective number two is to present measures that IEBC has put in place for a secure, legitimate, credible election. As you all know, that we have an election come August the 9th, 2022. The third objective is to get commitment and support of key stakeholders for a peaceful, transparent, credible 2022 general elections. In this regard, there'll be a peace pledge that will be signed by all the political leaders, especially the 2022 presidential candidates. This is a public sign of commitment for peace during and even after election. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Election Conference started yesterday with a pre-conference teaser that was on the role of media and opinion polls in election agenda setting. For those that were present, you will attest with me that it was an honest, candid, and engaging conversation. The information sharing yesterday was beneficial to all the stakeholders who collectively and individually had something to carry home. It was concluded that every stakeholder in this space should take their respective spaces and operate responsibly and very professional so that together we can fulfill our respective mandate for the people of Kenya. Allow me to give today's expectations in terms of the topics to be discussed here. We're going to have different panels, and we will look into the context of preparedness for the 2022 general election. Then we'll look at the role of election management bodies and stakeholders in enhancing inclusivity in electoral process. And finally, we will discuss on the election security, peace, and conflict management. To this end, I wish all of us a fruitful discussion, and I say, karibuni sana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A good hand of applause. The IEBC Vice Chairperson has reiterated the importance that the Commission attaches to its stakeholders, and that is why we have this National Elections Conference, so that we can engage and collaborate towards moving this country to a stronger democracy. Allow me to now invite the UN Resident Coordinator, AI, Lorraine Landis. Welcome, Lorraine.
Allow me to recognize the representative of the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court to the Republic of Kenya. Also, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, our IEBC Chairperson, the Vice Chair, and of course the IEBC Commissioners, the 2022 presidential candidates, and Dr. Gershom Otachi, Constitutional Commissions and Independent Offices, Chairperson's Caucus, and Chairperson of National Lands Commission. Must be a challenge to fit that on the card. Also, the EU Ambassador to Kenya, the Honorable Henrietta Geiger, UK High Commissioner to Kenya, Jane Marriott, members of the international community, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Good morning. Let me begin by commending Kenya and her people for the tremendous progress in creating a conducive environment for inclusive, transparent, and peaceful elections in 2022. This National Election Conference 2022 represents an important milestone of the IEBC and Kenya. I commend the IEBC for the implementation of the Elections Operations Plan, which is the guiding roadmap for electoral preparedness. For this, allow me to commend the IEBC Commission, national and international partners for their commitment and tireless efforts. The task before us is enormous. But Kenya has demonstrated strong capacity and persistence to deliver on all elements on the electoral calendar. It is indeed with great pride, honor, and humility that the UN and our partners are supporting the IEBC and other electoral institutions. The UN commitments are fully geared towards providing timely and meaningful support in alignment with national priorities and strategies. UN agencies and programs work closely with national partners to assist in the preparedness, the early warning systems, and to address risk that may impact the national goal of peaceful and inclusive elections. In this regard, I would like to recognize UNDP's two programs, Deepening Democracy and Transcending Peace, through which the UN is extending support to the IEBC to strengthen electoral preparedness and violence risk reduction. Deepening Democracy brings together several UN organizations, including OHCR and UN Women. The program aims to strengthen IEBC's institutional capacities, fostering effective voter education and information. In addition, UNESCO spearheads a global program called Social Media for Peace. In Kenya, this program aims to work with young people to use social media to tackle disinformation and disseminate peaceful messages. Also, OHCR, working with national partners, human rights defenders, and human rights NGOs, is supporting efforts to enhance national capacities for compliance with human rights principles. Again, UNDP has also extended support to Awinyo Platform for Peace, the hashtag Let Peace Win campaign, which rallies Kenyans to shun violence before, during, and after the elections. UN Women, not to be forgotten, is working with national partners to promote meaningful participation of women in the electoral process. In particular, this is by preventing and responding to violence against women in elections. And as a quick aside, women's representation in political leadership really remains low in Kenya in comparison to other countries in East Africa. It is our hope that Kenya realizes the constitutional 2/3 gender principle in the upcoming election, which is fundamental for women to meaningfully contribute to society. Ladies and gentlemen, our support would not be possible without all our development partners and implementing partners. We applaud your commitment and your continuous support. Allow me to express our deepest appreciation to those development partners who are here today, particularly conference, namely the European Union, the Federal Republic of Germany, the United Kingdom, the Republic of Italy, and the Republic of Ireland. Finally, let me conclude by reconfirming the UN's continued collaboration and support to partner with all key stakeholders for peaceful, inclusive, and a prosperous Kenya that leaves no one behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lorraine Landis, for your remarks. As my candidate had informed earlier, we are keeping on with the program very well. And as a running mate, it's my job to keep the program moving quite fast. So right now, allow me to welcome to the podium UK High Commissioner to Kenya, Ms. Jane Marriott, to make her remarks. Makofi tafadhali as she makes her way to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, IEBC Commissioners, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Good morning. I'm delighted to be here today and want to thank the IEBC for inviting the UK to this very important event. We are honoured to be guests in this amazing country of Kenya. The UK is a firm believer in responsible, accountable governments that govern for all of their people. We also know that democracy should never be taken for granted. It needs investing in, it needs growing, and it needs people who believe in it. And for those who follow British politics, you will have seen some of the recent twists and turns in the UK's own democratic story, which have been just as gripping as Kenya's own debates as we head here towards 6 sets of elections in less than a month's time. It will be Kenya's third election after the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution. And like every other election, the 9th of August general election is an essential opportunity for citizens to elect leaders of their choice as set down in the rights guaranteed in Kenya's excellent constitution. The UK shares a long-standing partnership with Kenya and is a committed friend. We have a strategic partnership agreed by His Excellency President Kenyatta and current Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It is a 5-year partnership deliberately designed to span Kenya's elections this year and the UK's parliamentary elections due before 2025, because the mutual interests of our two countries are greater than whomever is in power in either of those countries. Now, sometimes people still say to me, but what's the UK's real agenda? What's the UK's hidden agenda? And I want to share today what the UK's hidden agenda is, because it's the same as our open agenda. Our fundamental interest is that Kenya becomes ever more stable and prosperous, and that it continues to be a leading democracy, setting standards across the region and across the world. We have enjoyed standing shoulder to shoulder on the world stage with Kenya, on climate change, on education, at the United Nations Security Council, and we want that modern friendship and partnership based on mutual respect to continue. I want to be very clear, therefore, that the funding and organising of elections is not anything for the international community. It's a Kenyan responsibility, and who Kenyans elect is a matter for Kenya and the people of Kenya, not us. The UK respects Kenya's sovereignty and remain neutral and impartial. At the request of Kenyan's institutions, we have supported good governance through programming to provide technical support to build on lessons learned and improve standards to help strengthen the democratic process. And as I hope you know by now, the UK, the international community, does not fund the core budgets of Kenya's institutions, including that of the IEBC. And in line with this general commitment to helping strengthen the governance institutions in Kenya, we have provided the institutions support to build upon technical support, to build upon the lessons from the 2017 general elections. our 3-year Kenya election support project has provided targeted support at the request of the IEBC in areas such as legal reforms, voter education, mobilisation for voter registration, strategic communications and election security management, which strengthens collaboration and coordination between the security agencies and the IEBC. We've supported closer consultation, collaboration and coordination amongst the key Government of Kenya electoral and security institutions, and we applaud the continued dialogue and engagement amongst the IEBC, the Judiciary Committee on Elections, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties and the Office of the Deputy of the Director of Public Prosecutions, as well as civil society organisations, because the work between all of these institutions who need to work together is essential to building confidence in the electoral process. Prepare for these general elections in line with its elections operations plan and its strategic plan. With 29 days to go until the 9th of August, the world is watching the example that Kenya, we know, will set. We want to see free, fair, credible and peaceful elections. We want to see a contest and debate of ideas and issues in a tone of friendship. And for our part, like the other speakers here, we encourage all sides in this campaign to use this remaining campaign period to preach peace, to act peacefully, and to work in a manner that promotes confidence in the electoral process and electoral institutions. As a friend of Kenya, the UK government calls on all present across the 6 types of election and to those whom they represent to do their part in contributing to free, fair, credible and peaceful elections before, during and after the 9th of August. We call on all candidates and political contestants to promote peace and unity, not division or conflict. As I said, the world's attention is on Kenya, and friends of Kenya, such as the UK, remain available to support the Kenyan people, the government of Kenya, and the institutions in their preparation for August elections. I'm confident that, through this conference, there will be renewed commitment by all stakeholders to commit to free, fair, credible and peaceful in advance for what I'm sure is going to be a successful national elections conference. The winner in the 2022 Kenyan elections should be the independent institutions reflecting the will of the people. And to those officials working day in, day out to deliver this, I say thank you and good luck. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. Very good remarks there by Jane Marriott, UK High Commissioner to Kenya, who reiterated the commitment of UK to strengthen government institutions, and in particular IEBC in the areas of voter education and electoral security, among others. Thank you very much. We now welcome His Excellency Henriette Geiger, EU Ambassador to Kenya. Let's give her a hand of applause.
Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. The European Union is founded on democratic values and principles. This is why the EU, the US, the UK, Canada, supports peaceful, inclusive, credible, and transparent elections all around the world. Kenya is the leading democracy in the East African region and continues to set high human rights and democratic standards. Kenya is therefore a strong partner to the EU in key areas, including regional security, trade, and support for multilateral countries. For this, what happens here in Kenya matters so much to the world. And this is why I am here this morning to support Kenya's democratic process. I believe this morning's signing of the election peace pledge is perhaps the most critical moment in the electoral process so far. It epitomizes what we all are striving for: peaceful elections, independently from who is winning. I will not pronounce myself on the electoral process. That is the job of electoral observers, including our own EU election observation mission. But allow me to say that Kenya has come a long way on its democratic path, and that I am confident that the upcoming elections will be credible and peaceful, especially if all candidates across the country, from the national to the county level, adhere to the spirit of the peace pledge being signed here today. At the invitation of the government, the EU has deployed an election observation mission to observe the 2022 elections based on an administrative arrangement we signed jointly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the IEBC. The court observer team has already arrived in the country. Needless to say that the EU will remain strictly neutral and will strictly respect the sovereignty of Kenya. Now, the lion's share of the EU and its member states' electoral support to Kenya is channeled through the UNDP Basket Fund. The government of Kenya is represented in this basket fund, which focuses on areas such as voter and civic education, in this way supporting peaceful elections. In addition, and in line with the EU's commitment to support civil society organizations in peace building, the EU and its member states are supporting several actions by Kenyan and international CSOs to promote dialogue, social cohesion, conflict-sensitive reporting, and media communication, as well as youth and women engagement in the IC, the judiciary, and others. Strengthening civil society in the democratic process is key in any country. In closing, allow me to say that the European Union wishes Kenyan citizens a peaceful, competitive, and credible election campaign period. We wish for a large turnout of particularly young people, Kenyan women and men on election day, peacefully exercising their democratic right and thus ensuring that this great country can continue its leadership role on this continent and around the globe. We need Kenya to stand tall. The future is yours, and the EU will stand at your side. Asanteni sana, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Gershon Otachi, who is the Constitutional Commissions and Independent Offices Chairperson, Caucus, and the Chairperson of the National Lands Commission. Makofi tafadhali as the Chairman makes his way to the platform.
Allow me to recognize the presence of the representative of the Chief Justice, Honorable Lady Justice Njoki Ndung'u, the Chairman of IEBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the EU representative, sorry, the UN representative, the EU ambassador, the UK High Commissioner, who just spoken, the presidential candidates and running mates present, chairpersons of constitutional commissions, all protocols observed. I'm greatly honored to address this esteemed gathering as the chairperson of the constitutional commissions and independent offices. It's been pointed out here, I think by the UN representative, that mine appears to be a mouthful of a title, and it may be difficult in fitting in a card. Maybe for the benefit of many of us here who are not Kenyan, so that you understand what this is all about, the 2010 Constitution created a substantial number of commissions and independent offices. And they cut across various sectors. Elections, we are invited here by the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. That is an independent commission. You have human rights, you have gender and equality, you have police oversight, police recruitment, teachers, land, salaries and remuneration, revenue allocation, salaries. There is a public service commission, there is a judicial service commission, there is a the parliamentary service commission. Those are amongst some of the commissions that were created under the Constitution. We equally have independent offices, the Director of Public Prosecution, the Attorney General, and the Auditor General. So I'm greatly honored to address this esteemed gathering as a chairperson of that caucus. And on behalf of the caucus, allow me to convey warm greetings to all distinguished participants present here today and those who are following virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, the constitutional commissions and independent offices were established by Chapter 15 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 to perform the following constitutional as per Article 249 of the Constitution. 1, to protect the sovereignty of the people of Kenya. 2, to secure by all state organs of observance of democratic values and principles. And 3, to promote constitutionalism. The main object of the CCIOs, that's what we term them in summary because it's a bit of a mouthful of a term. The main objective of the CCIOs is to buttress the tripartite configuration of government and enhance transparency and the rule of law while observing the principles of good governance. Under Article 249, we are required to exercise independence and to perform our functions without fear, favor, or prejudice. And no person or organ may interfere with the functioning of the commissions or independent offices, and they are only subject to the Constitution and the law. And I must emphasize here that that applies squarely to the IEBC that has invited us here today. On our part, as a forum, I wish to inform this conference that we recently marked 10 years anniversary celebration, and this event accorded the CCIOs an opportunity to reflect on the strides made individually and collectively by commissions and independent officers to the Kenyan people in advancing democracy, securing citizens' human rights, entrenching fairness, meritocracy, and servanthood in public service, use of public resources, and transparency and accountability. As the chair of this caucus, I'm delighted to note that the roles of the CCIOs in electioneering are wide and include, but are not limited to, overall election mandate, that is the IEBC, electoral security, peace and conflict mitigation, election inclusivity, and that includes gender, disability, and minorities, election accountability in terms of budgets and resources, electoral framework and dispute resolution, and election oversight and monitoring. I'm sure you are bound to interact with many of these entities during this conference and in the field out there in the country as we count down to the election day. Indeed, a number of the chairs will be participants in the panel discussions. Now, as the story of elections in Kenya is told, from the days of a powerful individual named the supervisor of elections, the one-party system, the queue voting system, famously known as Mlolongo, for those who are old enough to know, through the various commissions to the current 2010 constitution, there are Kenyans who stood out in fighting for democratic space. This included politicians, civil society, and clergy. Indeed, it's humbling today that in this room there are many who guided the Kenyans. As I speak, that the Honorable Justice Njoki Ndung'u, who represents the Chief Justice today, is one of those who's traveled this journey through civil society, through politics, and helped us arrive at where we have. So let us give a clap to those who have traveled that journey. Now, what I hope, and on behalf of the CCIOs, is that we as Kenyans will not drop the ball. It is tempting and it's understandable that we will criticize the IEBC, we criticize the election process, but we must always recollect where have we come from. As I said, there are few of us, there are many of us here who know that at a point in time there was one individual known as the supervisor of elections, and that individual was assisted by county commissioners, that is executive. So we've traveled a long, long journey, and as we are tempted to bash the chairman. Now, in the caucus, when we recently had our conference, we referred to Chebukati as the chair of the moment, because he's the chair of the moment. Just as we have also a super chair, the Chief Justice, who is the chair of the Judicial Service Commission. So as we are tempted to bash the chair of the moment and his commissioners on this and that and the other, let us remember the journey we have traveled. Let us look at the positives, and let us work at a positive criticism so that then we don't turn back from the gains. Now, we, as the caucus, we of commissions and independent officers, we play a democratic space we have developed over time, climaxing in the 2010 Constitution, and we do that collectively and individually. Finally, I must note that His Excellency, the President Uhuru Kenyatta, has been the one who has had to oversee and midwife the critical phase of the implementation of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And for a period of 9 years, the President has been overseeing that as well as devolution. We thank him for having hosted us at the State House when we were celebrating our anniversary 3 months ago, and we applaud him for his efforts to ensure that the constitutional commissions and independence offices take their space. Lessons, it's not been an easy for the commissions under 2010 Constitution to settle in. We have learned lessons, and we want to be able to build on what we have learned, but not to turn back on what it is that Wanjiku wished to see. So with those, I don't know whether there are few, I think there are many remarks. May I congratulate Honorable Wafula Chebukati and IEBC for this momentous occasion, this conference. Very well attended. I understand that the attendance is way above the invitations, and apparently there'll be more attending, and we look forward to a meaningful engagement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gershom Otachi. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the National Election Conference 2022, and the theme is moving Kenya towards a stronger democracy. And or a connection with a judge of the Supreme Court. I'd like to welcome Lady Justice Njokindongo, who's a Chevening scholar like yours truly. Makofi tafadhali. Kwangu. This is for the Lady Justice. So karibu sana Njokindongo.
Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the chairperson of the IEBC, commissioners of IEBC present, the chairman of the CCIOs and the Land Commission, Gershom Otachi, excellencies, ambassadors, members of the diplomatic corps, presidential candidates of 2022 election and their representatives, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you today in the place of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, Lady Justice Martha Koome, who was invited to this conference, but unfortunately was unable to make it. At this time, she's chairing a meeting of the judiciary where she's receiving the Court of Appeal and the Judicial Commission on Elections, updating on election-related cases and confirming the judiciary's preparedness to handle election disputes. So that meeting she's chairing is also in tandem on their preparedness for the forthcoming elections and to learn lessons on deepening democracy from peer institutions from other parts of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's National Election Conference, Moving Towards a Stronger Democracy, speaks to the centrality of our electoral processes towards the realization of the goal of democratic governance that is a core aspiration of the 2010 Constitution. The overreaching constitutional aspiration of democratic governance is articulated in several provisions of the 2010 Constitution, including the national values and principles of governance in Article 10 and in the Bill of Rights that protects political rights in Article 38. Even more pronounced is Chapter 7 on representation of the people that elaborates the standards and rules for the electoral system and the conduct of elections with the aim of ensuring that our governance is founded on free and fair elections. The keen attention that the Constitution pays the conduct of elections is informed by the view that elections play a key role in fostering democratic governance and constitutionalism. However, the Constitution and laws are not self-enforcing. This means that unless all duty bearers, like the IEBC, security agencies, the state, and even the candidates themselves, unless they scrupulously embrace their obligations and citizens become vigilant and actively enforce the commands embodied in the Constitution, the constitutional guarantees that I have mentioned will remain mere words. Ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned by the UK High Commissioner, the 2022 election cycle is the third election cycle since we overhauled our electoral laws, principles, standards, and institutions with the enactment of the 2010 Constitution. This means that our electoral system is now consolidated and we now have a well-trodden path with respect to electoral jurisprudence and procedures. The consolidation of the electoral regime means that we expect those duty bearers that I have mentioned to now know the standards and the benchmarks with which they are expected to comply in discharging their mandate to conduct elections that pass constitutional muster. The judiciary is a comprehensive election preparedness work plan that has ensured that the judiciary is now able to discharge its dispute resolution mandate competently and within the stipulated timelines with respect to any electoral disputes. The Judiciary Committee on Elections and the Kenya Judiciary Academy have already conducted training programs that target judges, magistrates, and deputy registrars on the electoral disputes resolution, what we call the EDR. This means that all who will hear and determine EDR matters are equipped with the requisite knowledge, skills, and competency to apply the relevant laws and determine electoral disputes effectively, efficiently, expeditiously, and fairly. Further, all election-related matters, including those concerning post-nomination disputes, will be heard continuously until concluded. The chairman of the IEBC has presented 31 post-nomination cases that he has identified that need to be expedited. It is the promise of the judiciary that cases that have bearing on the conduct of the upcoming general election will be isolated and will be expedited in the shortest time possible. This includes not only the cases that are in Nairobi, but all pending cases across the country. In conclusion, the judiciary remains a custodian of the rule of law in our democracy. We will do everything to ensure that we do play our part in adjudicating electoral disputes competently and within the dictates of the law. The courts are the guardians of the Constitution, and we will abide with this role. I join the chairman of the IEBC in urging all state agencies, voters, the political class, and the public to play their role in the electoral process to ensure that we in Kenya have a free, fair, and credible election. Thank you, and God bless you all. The Honorable Justice Martha Koome. Thank you.
A better round of applause for Lady Justice Nangu. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've noticed, we have slightly amended our order of the one that you have on your program. I'd like to assure you that we are still keeping with the program, and the 2022 general election presidential candidates or their representatives will speak will be invited to speak by the chairman of the IEBC when he gets his chance to speak. For now, though, allow me to welcome to the podium to make her remarks Janet Love, who's the Vice Chairperson, Electoral Commission of South Africa. Makofi tafadhali as she makes her way to the podium.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the chairperson of the IEBC, my fellow commissioners from the IEBC for this privilege to be here this morning, dignitaries here, members of the diplomatic corps, judicial officers, fellow commissioners from Zambia and Ghana, and too many to mention other than to greet you all and to appreciate the opportunity to share with you this very important occasion. I think we all know that nothing in an election can be taken for granted, not only in our young democracies within our continent, but in other parts of the world. You heard from our colleague who is from the United Kingdom. We know from other parts of the world, including the United States, that genuinely we can take nothing for granted. Inclusivity is something we have to strive for. Unity is something we have to build with each day and with each election. Peace is something that we all have to commit to, and we have to realize is sometimes quite difficult to ensure. And transparency is an ongoing obligation in every part of an election process, every step of the way. So in this occasion, I realize that the IEBC has taken a very bold step, not only to share with you its preparedness and its journey, but to share with the rest of the continent. And we appreciate and we applaud that, and we hope that we will learn as much as we can share with you some of the experiences in our country. The African electoral experience is one of learning, and we will continue with those endeavors. Your election day on the 9th of August is the same day as South Africa's Women's Day, and we trust and we hope that this is also something that will bring with it a lot of energy, a lot of courage, and a lot of support to the women of this country to make sure that their voice is heard in the numbers that it ought to be. At a later moment in today's program, as part of this particular program, is the Peace Pledge, a critical moment in an election process. As a commissioner from another part of this continent, I can say it is a moment where we call upon each candidate to reflect. Yours is not just a journey that is committed to winning, but when you sign that pledge, you are pledging your understanding to knowing that you can lose. And that's not easy, to lose. For the winners, your challenge will of course be to fulfill the many promises that you have made. So winners and losers, you have a very important commitment to make in signing that pledge. Your commitment is that you support the right of Kenyans to choose who should lead them. So on this occasion, I just want again to appreciate the IEBC and to say to you on behalf of your fellow commissioners in South Africa, we wish you all the best. We wish Kenya all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do note that you've been sitting for a while and listening to a lot of incredibly serious things and intense things. With great permission from the chairman, I'm allowed to bring a brief, another spoken word artist, Dofan. Dofan will do for us a very brief interlude of spoken word, and then it will be followed by Ole Kaputa, who's doing a musical number. Dofan, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Okay. Good morning. Good morning again. Well, on behalf of this beloved country of ours, and before you sign that pledge, I have a commitment. Okay, I have something that you need to also reassure us as young people, because we are the people that get, used to dispense violence. And at the same time, we're the people that are very dispensable. So, nataka nikisema, wakikam na mapunch, mnaniambia tunakam na mapunchlines. Wakikam na mapunch, siwasikii. Mnataka amani kweli? Wakikam na mapunch? So anytime nasema wakikam na mapunch, mnasema tunakam na mapunchlines. Because you can jest, you can ridicule, you can even mock. The good old political banter is allowed, right? But we don't want violence. We need peace, and we need peace like yesterday. So you're going to roll with us with this. So this is called punch versus punchlines, and that's because we're choosing punchlines and not punches. Right? All right.
Oh, nidunge nikudunge sote tuwe blind. Oh, nidunge nikudunge sote tuwe blind. Ah, nidunge nikudunge sote tuwe blind. Ni nani atakaye guide? Oh, ni nani atakaye? Nani atakaye?
Wakikam na mapunch. Wakikam na mapunch. Kani mateke waambie maneno ulimi yangu ni sharp zaidi ya sword ya Ishomitsu kwa Tekken. Wakikam na mapunch. Wakikam na mapunch. Na kama ni hivyo basi waambie hata huyo jamaa anauza nguo strip kwa botika najua. Dofa na kuna match lines. Chuki kiwa talk. Masikio yana block. Ni bure kuniongelesha ni kama kuuse mayai kucheza nayo golf. Furthermore we allergic to yolk. Skiza chief. Kama shida ni beef minda kwa vegetarian. Juu area chuki imeleta failure. Taifa la sifa supu kunuka pupu. Tukitega masikio kwa binafsi na pia wanafiki. Matukio na sauti za chuki matokeo ni mauti na dhiki. Kwa kweli hairidhishi. Na si ukweli nikisema hainitishi. Sisi sote tulicheki ishara za moshi, kisha kasara keja zikiwaka moto, na mazishi ya wazazi na pia watoto. Jirani kugeuka Dracula na niwe antakula, inabidi umetoka faster bila tandula. Mimi nashindwa kwani ni nini na ukabila? Hainiongezei vitamin, naweza kabila. Chuki ukabila nimekataa hiyo. Siwezi kalia kiti moto nikijua kitanichoma choma makali. Hey bane ndio. Pia mi ulia kwa misiba. Pia mi ujua danger nikicheki red na bloodshed na itikia sio tiba. Ndugu kumada ndugu. Hii mada ni sugu. Ndio maana sina time. Sina wakati kwa vurugu.
Nidunge nikudunge sote tuwe blind. Ah, nidunge nikudunge sote tuwe blind. Oh, nidunge nikudunge sote tuwe blind.
Nani ata guide?
Nani ata guide?
Nani ata guide?
Nani ata guide? Oh, ni nani ata guide?
Wakikam na mapunch. Wakikam na mapunch. Kani mateke waambie maneno ulimi yako ni sharp zaidi ya sword ya Ishomitsu kwa Tekken. Wakikam na mapunch. Hata full scap bundle mzima inajua. Dofa na kuna match lines. Na kwa hizi lines na document life kwa hizi mitaa day by day. Suffice to say I'm here to stay. Usingoje kwangu kusikia nimekam tena. Nishajua mwanaume sikubonga na bass. Matimes utanipata nikiimba na tena. Hata wahenga walishanena mambo kangaja uenda ya kaja. Hata baada ya kula aja uja. So nikicheki mto ni obvious natarajia daraja. Haisaidii kuniangalia vibaya na ni kama wendo lichagua nyama ya paja. Streets ni war zone, sini masoja. Miujisikia niko kwa manowari yani nikipanda ndani ya matatu koja. Kuna wengi hapa wafanyi kazi kwa matatu bado wanajidai number 1 class register na nishow mwanafunzi moja. Wengine wanajidai na heights na hii ni siso. Kama wendo uko juicy unajua nani mzito. Most of the times hautanipata nimefurahi. Uze yetu achieve your dream ya dead and Kimathi na pio gama pinto. Na wasabai nikidai haki. Wanadai kuniwasha one smoke kama mimi nikiko si fani. Si fani wakituchekesha na kutupatia amani. Watutakia amani. Raundi ugali itaipika kwa vijiti atupiganio mwiko. Nasema si fani wakijipendekeza kwa michango hadharani. Watutakia amani. Raundi hiki tuota ibogea kwa vidole. Atupiganii vijiko. So wakikam na mapunch. Wakikam na mapunch. Kani matete unawaambia maneno ulimi yako ni sharp zaidi ya kisu. Wakikam na mapunch. Wakikam na mapunch.
Tunakam na punchlines.
Alafu akitaka kujua zaidi unaweza tuma kwangu. Hata wewe jamaa wakikombana uzangisa zina mistari anajua. Dofa na kuna match lines.
Excellent, excellent. I really better round of applause for Dofan. Wakikam na mapunch. Ladies and gentlemen, to the second interlude of the day, and now the floor belongs to Ole Kaputa. Makofi tafadhali kwa Ole.
so much. My name's... Okay. Yeah, my name's Joshua Olekaputa, the Narok County Peace Ambassador. And once again, I thank God for such a day. And I want to tell all of us that as the youth in Kenya, making sure that, and once again, we will not be used by anybody to bring any troubles to this country, because we love it. And our forefathers did a lot to build it, and we will not break it. We will not finish it. We will build this country because it is ours and we love it. Thank you so much. I'm going to do a song. Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe. Look at your neighbor, tell him or her, Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe. Yeah, so if it is possible, we can dance together, because it is a good song. And therefore, you will just sing it this way. Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe, Kenya wamoja, Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe, Kenya tu wamoja. Thank you so much, DJ.
Thank you. That was Kenya ni wewe, Kenya ni mimi. We are now going to welcome of IEBC, the chairman of IEBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, who is also the presidential returning officer, to come and give keynote address. Let's give him a hand of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did I forget my specs? Marjan, check if my specs are there. Okay, as I wait for that, wakikucha na mapanch. Thank you. Lady Justice Njoki Ndung'u, representing the Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, presidential candidates for the 2022 general election, chairpersons and members of constitutional commissions and independent officers, led by our Chair of Chairs, Gershom Motachi, members of election management bodies present. We have Ms. Janet Love from South Africa, Dr. Bosman Asare, Vice Chair Ghana, Ambassador Ndioi Mliwana, Mutindal Chifunde Vava from Zimbabwe, Resident Coordinator UN and Resident Representative UNDP Kenya. Anthony just arrived this morning on his assignment to Kenya. He arrived last night and is here with us. Welcome, Anthony. That tells you the importance the UN attaches to the elections in this country. High commissioners, ambassadors, our development partners, who are many. If you check the program, they are all there. We appreciate you, and we thank you for your support. Stakeholders from 47 counties, that is our staff, and from the counties, of the 47 counties, there's one woman representative, there's one youth, there's one person living with disability, and one other person. That's the composition in this room from all the 47 counties. Commissioners of IEBC and staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm very, very delighted to be here to welcome you to this important conference, whose theme is moving Kenya towards a stronger democracy. This affords us an opportunity to both reflect on Kenya's democratic journey and also identify key markers for her present and future electoral process. Systems are vital in ensuring the emergency and survival of a healthy and vibrant democratic society, so far as democratic society and politics. We must acknowledge that democracy is the best system of government so far invented by man, and which we must strive to protect, uphold, and render to the people of Kenya. Kenya is a growing democracy whose journey must be celebrated. 59 years after independence, Kenya is poised to hold its 12th general election. 30 years after the reintroduction of multi-party politics in 1992, the country is poised to hold its 7th general election. The nation is on the cusp of a third democratic and peaceful transition of power through elections to her 5th president. This is a remarkable achievement, especially in a continent scarred by civil strife that at times characterize political transitions. It is scarcely noticed that it's scarcely noticed, but Kenya's electoral culture is so strong in view of the fact that we hold regular and periodic elections. It's an electoral culture we need to celebrate and build on its foundation stone for a more perfect and enduring legacy of democracy, not just for us, but for the future generations as well. Our task as a nation defeats the tendencies that continue to hinder the emergence of a substantive electoral culture that would fully satisfy the taste of a mature democracy. Election management is a central element in sustainability of elections. It's the avenue through which the people of Kenya exercise their political rights and activate their sovereign power as enshrined in the Constitution. It's therefore imperative that our elections must adhere to the general principles of our electoral system as encapsulated in Article 81 of the Constitution of Kenya, which covers freedom of citizens to exercise their political rights, fair representations of persons with disability, not more than 2/3 members of elective public body shall be of the same gender, universal suffrage based on the aspirations for fair representation and equality of the vote, and free and fair elections which are by secret ballot, free from violence, intimidation, improper influence or corruption, conducted by an independent body, transparent and administered in an impartial, neutral, efficient, accurate and accountable manner. That's what our Constitution says. These are the yardsticks then we must use in assessing our democracy and working towards making it stronger. On its part, the Commission is alive to the road traveled in the journey towards a strong election management body. As my brother Judicial Motachi has said, we were once a department at the Attorney General's office, which has now moved to being an independent commission established under the 2010 Constitution. We came from elections which were conducted through Mulolongo system to voting by secret ballot. From elections managed by temporary poll officials drawn from executive to a secretariat, which is headed by the chief executive officer and commission secretary, a secretariat which is professional, technically competent, and knowledgeable in election matters. From a lean body of election laws to now an elaborate legal framework that covers all aspects of the election process. So to ensure that it discharges its constitutional mandate in line with the rule of law and protects the sovereignty of the people of Kenya, the Commission has endeavored to uphold its independence and fidelity to the rule of law and Constitution. It has not been an easy walk, but its path the Commission has kept in full appreciation of the solemn oath that we took on assumption of office. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now mention a few things towards the preparations towards the 2022 general elections. Let me now turn to efforts made by the Commission in strengthening democracy through building our robust election process. I wish to point out that the Commission's long and tested experience in election management has created a large body of technical competence and practical knowledge that informs its preparation for the elections. Since 2010, the Commission has conducted 2 general elections, 1 referendum, and a number of by-elections. The Commission's journey to preparing for the upcoming election started way back after the 2017 general election by doing our post-election evaluation, and this report was completed and launched in February 2019. The report provided important insights into the conduct of the 2017 general election, and in particular, what worked, what did not work, and areas of improvement. Key among these were the findings of the Supreme Court judgment that nullified the presidential election. The Commission established an implementation mechanism that incorporated the reasoning of the Supreme Court, including results being final at the polling station, and that the primary result is Form 34A. The Commission further consolidated the reasoning of the Supreme Court and other stakeholders into draft amendment legislations that were then submitted to Parliament, although they are yet to be enacted into law. But the Commission, in its operations, are following the findings of the Supreme Court and then what informed us in our post-election evaluation report. In addition, the Commission addressed systemic challenges in the Commission system and operations by developing and reviewing our policies and standard operating procedure manuals to streamline key processes. We have come up with new manuals in all our directorates, and also especially our risk management policy. And just to mention a few, in our human resource administration policies, finance and account policies and procedures manual, internal audit policies and procedures manual, internal audit charter, audit and risk committee charter, risk management framework, risk compliance management framework, and then gender and social inclusion policy. So the Commission is at the core of all these manuals, and we then are moving on as a strong Commission ready to render the people of Kenya the upcoming general elections. We also came up with a strategic plan and election operation plan, which we launched on 15th of June last year. And I'm happy to note that we are where we're supposed to be in our election operation plan, with 28 days left to the general election. The Commission has continued to sensitize stakeholders and the public at large on election timelines in the election operation, in our election operation plan, through press releases and stakeholder engagements like this one. And as a Commission, we shall not tire engaging our stakeholders. I also want to say a few things about nomination of candidates. Political parties are responsible for mobilizing eligible citizens to contest as candidates and to elect candidates to contest election through party primaries. It's therefore imperative that they maintain strong internal party mechanisms and structures that foster democracy. Strong parties, strong election management body, strong democracy. And we should not forget that the Commission cannot then do this on its own. The Elections Act requires political parties to submit nomination rules to be approved by the Commission. The Commission primarily reviewed nomination rules submitted by the parties to ensure that the parties have a proper national election board, an internal dispute resolution mechanism, and those parties then who complied were allowed to participate in the 2022 general election, and these were 83 political parties. Another area I want to talk about is briefly is the 2/3 gender rule. Article 81B, which I read earlier, provides that not more than 2/3 of the members of elective public bodies shall be of the same gender. This provision has been attained in the county assemblies by way of gender top-up through the party list model. However, the realization of the 2/3 gender rule has remained elusive in Parliament, with several unsuccessful attempts at providing legislation to operationalize the principle. On its part, the High Court in Katiba Institute case versus IEBC 2017 issued orders directing political parties to make measures to formulate rules and regulations for purposes of actualizing the 2/3 gender principle during nominations of the 290 constituency-based elective positions of members of the National Assembly and 47 county-based positions of the Senate. And in default, that respondent, that's IEBC, was directed to devise administrative mechanisms to ensure the 2/3 gender principle is realized among political parties during the nomination exercises for parliamentary elections. The Commission was further directed to reject any party list that was non-compliant. The Commission implemented this court order, and out of, as at 12 May 2022, 75 out of 77 political parties' nomination lists for the member of National Assembly and 68 out of 69 political parties' nomination lists for Senate had complied with the two-thirds gender principle. This represented 98% compliance. However, on Wednesday, 11th May 2022, we were served with a court order in the case of Adrian Kamotho Njenga versus IEBC, which granted orders in effect suspending the implementation of the two-thirds gender principle in the nomination of candidates for the 9th of August general election. Remember, we implemented a court order, then we got another court order stopping us from implementing the other court order. The implementation of the two-thirds gender rule now lies in limbo, and the next parliament has the responsibility to ensure its attainment. As a commission, we did what we could, and I believe we did something. The 98% achievement at nomination is, I believe, no mean achievement. The Commission, I'll say briefly about registration of voters. The Commission has the responsibility to ensure that citizens are afforded an opportunity to exercise their political rights, among others, registering as voters and by secret ballot, vote by secret ballot in an election or referendum. As a commission, we have voters register duplicated, and those who have been asking for the voters register is now available. You'll pay a nominal fee and you'll get the voters register. This register, which has 22,120,458 voters. These include the voters in the diaspora and prisons. Diaspora, we have 12 countries who will participate in this year's general election. That is the United States of America, United Kingdom, Canada, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Germany, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Africa. The registration and voting will be done at the Kenyan embassies and high commissions and consulates in the respective countries. So those who wish to check their registration details, you are still free to do so. Please don't wait for polling day through the SMS portal, which is available. And so, as a commission, with this number of voters, the law requires that we should have maximum of 700 voters per polling station. And we worked on the figures, and that's what has given us polling stations to the tune of 46,233, which have since been gazetted. I also want to confirm that we have also since gazetted the total number of candidates for the 1,882 elective seats available. We have 16,098 candidates who will participate on the 9th of August elections in the 6 elective positions. So out of 16,098, only 1,882 will have the positions, will win the positions. And so that is where we are. As a commission, I think the Honorable Chief Justice, through Justice, the late Justice Njogi Dung, has confirmed that the judiciary will fast track the cases, nomination disputes. Please do so, for we are running behind schedule in printing of ballot papers, and actually by this week we should have finished all the printing. We shall only be remaining with the presidential candidates' ballot papers, And so please try and finalize these cases in the course of this week. I also want to say something. We recognize the observers. You are very important to our elections. The European Union, the NDI, and all the Africa have institutionalized scrutiny procedures, and they're all anchored in the law. And facilitation of observation and monitoring of elections is our core mandate that has been entrenched in our elections, and one which enhances transparency. We set up an accreditation management system which has worked very well, and we have, I think, the observers who have applied are being processed. We look forward to working with you. We shall assist you in whichever way as to logistics, and I believe the briefing was done for observers in the course of last week. Yes. Another partnership which I must talk about, because it's at the core of the upcoming elections, is our working relationship with the Kenya Media Sector Working Group. We have a memorandum of understanding with the Editors Guild and Kenya Union of Journalists, and which then provides for information flow, and also we have arranged for the journalists to cover and report election results as they come out from polling stations, and more particularly in our 290 constituency tallying centers. This is primarily to ensure transparency of the process. Election results will be announced at the polling station. The results announced at polling station are final. There will be copies for presidential results from 34A. There will be enough copies for agents of candidates. There will be copies for other observers and media. And if the copies are not enough, please take a photocopy, a photo image of that result. What we are saying is that the media, the candidates, you collect your results, you can do your parallel vote tallying, but don't announce yourself as a winner. That's our work. That's the commission. It's for us to declare you. But we want you to move with us, have the results, so that if we are announcing results at the tallying center, if there's anything you notice, point it out. Because that is the transparency we are working for. And the media, we urge you to take your space. Don't write stories from the newsroom. Come out there, take your space, because you have a role to play in our elections. I would also like to mention something, because this goes to the transparency and the core of our democracy, on procurement of strategic materials, and more particularly the ballot papers. We had stories of fears among some candidates that ballot papers will be stuffed, they are will come in through other regions. The ballot papers are being printed in Athens, Greece. They'll come through Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. They have started coming, and they'll be coming between now and the 29th of this month. From 30th, we start taking them to the counties and constituencies. The ballot papers we are printing are equal we have in the country. We have a total of 610 ballot papers which are being printed. That's 132 million, 132 million, 190, 610. Those are the only ballot papers we have ordered, and they will be supplied. There are no other ballot papers outside the 132 million, 190, 610. This is important because we don't, as a commission, we have nothing to hide. There are no other ballot papers other than these ones, which the commission has ordered from the printers. And for the presidential, this includes diaspora and prisoners. We shall be supplied with 22,120,458 ballot papers, which is the same number of the the Kenyans in the voters register. For member of National Assembly, we have ordered 22,102,532 ballot papers. This 22,102,532 excludes prisoners and diaspora who don't vote for member of National Assembly. Then for governor and senator is the same, 22,102,532 ballot papers. For county woman member to National Assembly, we have ordered and we shall be supplying 1,674,465 ballot papers. It's less than the 22,102 for the 532 for other positions because the Kericho county woman member to National Assembly for Kericho had no contest. So that's why the number is less, to reflect again the exact number of the voters, of the voters who will participate in voting for the county woman member to National Assembly. For county assembly wards, we have ordered and we shall be supplied with 22,088,091 ballot papers. Now, this excludes the MCA for Ravine ward in Baringo and Sabena ward in Garissa, who had no contest. No contest means there was nobody opposing them. So they are county women member to National Assembly and MCA elect. And that has been gazetted. Procurement process for ballot papers is on course. And we are bringing in the country ballot papers equivalent to the number of voters, because there's no 100%, there's never been 100% voter turnout, and we believe that this is the right way to go. It's a transparent process, and the Commission has nothing to hide. Also briefly manage the 46,233 polling stations. As you all know, we have permanent staff at the Commission and in the counties, all the 47 counties and constituencies who shall be the returning officers, but they'll be assisted by the temporary poll officials who are the presiding officers and the deputies and clerks, and those are the people actually who run the election. The recruitment is finalizing, training will be undertaken, and we believe that they'll be adequately trained to undertake the process. The Commission requests your support to our staff. Please don't profile the staff of IEBC. Give us all the support wherever you find them. Cooperate with them, discuss with them. If you have issues as candidates, let's have a peaceful election. And you, instead of casting aspersions, have a conversation with them. I just want to assure you, and the previous speakers alluded to our stakeholder engagement. We are working well with all the other stakeholders. The National Police Service will be the major player on the, in fact, they are already major players now. They are escorting our materials from the airport to the warehouse. They are guarding our materials. They will be involved in providing 2 police officers per polling station at the constituent tallying center, at the county tallying center, at the national tallying center. So we are working very well with the National Police Service, and together with other stakeholders, we shall deliver to Kenyans a peaceful election. So, and lastly, I want to call upon our stakeholder, number 1, the Kenyan voter. Please turn out in large numbers on the 9th of August and exercise your democratic right. The vote, because we know that every vote counts. I wish us fruitful deliberations, and before I do the duty of inviting the presidential candidates in my capacity as the presidential returning officer, I wish to request Lady Justice Jogindungu to come forward and say 1 or 2 words to open this conference. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think we've heard what the Chairman has had to say. And I think for all of us who are inside this room, and also the Kenyans watching from outside the room, we now know what path we have to follow towards a free and fair election. I don't really have much more to say, other than to thank the Commission for all the work that it's done so far. And at this time, I wish to declare the conference open. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Justice. Now, wish to invite presidential candidates in the following order I've been given by my team here. You'll come forward, say one or two words in, and after that, we will be guided on how the peace pledge will be signed by the team. So in no uncertain order, we start with the UDA representative for the first, for presidential candidate Dr. Ruto of Kenya Kwanza, Veronica Maina.
Good morning, IEBC Chairman, Mr. Wafula Chebukati. Let me first take this opportunity to plead with you on behalf of all the other presidential candidates and political parties to give us a few more minutes than 3 minutes for a few reasons: that we are the key, most critical stakeholders representing close to 50 million Kenyan people, representing over 21 million registered voters. So give us, with your permission, would you mind to open a little? Thank you. We have 5. I appreciate that. The IEBC Chairman, Wafula Chebukati, Lady Justice Njoki Ndung'u, standing in for our Chief Justice, Mother Karua. I'm sorry for that. Sorry for that. I'll start again. The IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, Lady Justice Njoki Ndung'u, standing in for Chief Justice Mother Kome, the UNDP representative and leaders, Excellencies drawn from the diplomatic corps and members from the foreign missions, all special invited guests from outside the nation of Kenya, my compatriots from the political parties, presidential candidates in attendance today, and all their representatives in attendance today, and delegates invited to this meeting. Allow me to bring special greetings from His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, who could not make it to this function due to pre-scheduled commitments. And let me take this opportunity to also assure this congregation that he's committed to the path of peace and peaceful campaigning during this season. Let me take this early opportunity also to appreciate the efforts of the chairman of the IEBC together with the commissioners and the IEBC Secretariat in putting together this important national conference themed as Moving Kenya Towards a Stronger Democracy. This conference gives us once more an opportunity, especially the presidential candidates, to dialogue on how this process can be carried forward with peace and with a continuous conversation around how we can make it easier for Kenyans to walk into the polling stations on 9th of August to cast their vote and make their choice for the next crop of leaders. To the chairman of the IEBC, your mandate is well set out under Article 88 of the Constitution of Kenya, and I want to specifically emphasize on Sub-Article 88(4) of the Constitution, which specifically provides, and at the risk of repeating articles that are well known by many Kenyans and by the Commission itself, that the Commission is responsible for conducting and elections as prescribed by an Act of Parliament, and the sub-article goes on to outline other specific terms of reference for the IEBC. And Article 86 A, B, C, and D provides that at every election, the IEBC shall ensure that whatever method is used, the system is simple, accurate, verifiable, secure, accountable, and transparent. And that all the votes cast are counted, tabulated, and the results announced promptly by the presiding officer at each polling station. That the results from each polling stations must be openly and accurately collated and promptly announced by returning officer. And appropriate structures to eliminate electoral malpractice must also be put in place. This mandate must be exercised independent of any influence from within or without, and must be exercised to the best interest of the voters of Kenya, so that their voice can be heard through the vote. It is only when we allow that voice to be heard through the vote that Kenyans will have the confidence that you have carried out a process that had interest itself with peace. To the chairman of the IEBC Commission, our president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, together with the entire Kenya Kwanza fraternity and the UDA, have this small matter, or this big matter, that I would wish to call to your attention, and to even continue to remind you that the IEBC, in exercise of its mandate, registered all the Kenyans using the biometric electronic system, the BVR kits. That same method that you use for registration must be the same method that you use for identification of voters during the voting process in the upcoming general election. If registration of voters was not done on manual paper register, then would it not be good sense to use the manual paper for identification of genuinely registered voters? It is a big matter, yet it could be a small matter if we follow the protocol, if we use correct registers, if we use the right number of registered voters that are in our database, and that is the database with the political parties as we walk into your offices and ask for a copy of the same. I will not overemphasize on this matter, but I will ask you to be guided by great wisdom, by regulation, by the Constitution, and by good faith to enable Kenya walk peacefully and allow women, even young people, PWDs, and every other person to walk into stations without fear or intimidation, or without feeling that the identification that is being done is not the correct one. Dr. William Samoei Ruto continues to give his highest assurance to all Kenyans and to the international community that, in tandem with what he has demonstrated so far through his peaceful campaign, that he will remain steadfast in ensuring that the footprints of his campaign trail will remain even more peaceful, and will continue to persuasively dialogue with more Kenyans in his signature bottom-up economic model. His Excellency Dr. William Ruto is committed to achieving a more stable nation where all will be included, including women, PWDs, and youths, and all Kenyans will be dignified and fully enabled to enjoy their human rights under this Constitution. To all our worthy presidential contenders, our doors are open for dialogue on issues of sustainable peace, and Kenya Kwanza has confidence in IEBC, and will continue to engage constructively with IEBC, with the Kenyans and the Kenyans voters, to ensure that any issues that may arise before, during, and after the polls can be resolved at a first instance on a conciliatory and mediatory manner. I want to say God bless you. May God grant peace, grace, and strength to IEBC, and God bless Kenya. Asante sana.
You have 5 minutes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Madam Veronica Maina. She kept to her 5 minutes. Dr. Caroline Karugu, representing Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga. Dr. Karugu, you're here? Uh, 5 minutes. Let's.
I thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In all protocols observed, my name is Dr. Caroline Karugu, and I stand here on behalf of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who sends his message of goodwill, sends with Matters campaign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we don't have a lot of strangers in the room, but you all know that Kenyan elections are elections that are a matter of life and death. If there is a country that has demonstrated that, that country is Kenya. While some of us think that they shouldn't be a matter of life and death, unfortunately, we have seen them being a matter of life and death. We are confronted with an election that is bound to define the history of this nation. Like I said previously, it is a very definitive election. And therefore, we want to congratulate the IEBC so far under the able leadership of Chairman Mr. Chebukati for being able to instill confidence that we are looking forward to a free, fair, and verifiable, credible election. I say that because I come from the side of politics that has over time felt slighted by the referee, felt slighted by the ways that we have conducted our elections. And Mr. Chairman, you will forgive me if sometimes we have come off as that side of politics that does not trust the referee. It is not because of anything with you or with IEBC. It is because of the long journey that my presidential candidate, Raila Amolo Odinga, and his deputy have worked on reforms and liberating this country and its democratic space. I therefore want to read a speech written here by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga that then shares his thoughts with this conference today. And I read, ladies and gentlemen, let me state from the onset that as a presidential candidate and a leader of the largest conglomeration of parties that form the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya party, I am deeply committed to doing everything within my power, to ensure that the August election will be as peaceful as possible. This is a commitment I have given to Kenya. This is a commitment I give to Africa, and indeed, this is a commitment I give to the international community. As a foot soldier for democracy and one who has paid a huge price in the struggle for a free and democratic nation, I have a deep and unwavering commitment to ensure that democracy, as expressed through elections, take deep roots in our country. Going into this election, I would do nothing that can jeopardize this election. I would do nothing that would jeopardize Kenya's march towards a greater democratization of this nation. This is a commitment I have made before all of you. It is a commitment that I am also prepared to keep at all costs. Since the onset of multi-party election in 1992, our contests have been violent and deadly. Lives and properties have been lost. The economy has been battered by violence that is related to elections. The result has been that after every election, we emerge sadder and poorer. We start afresh after every election. We bury our loved ones during every election, and especially with the 2022 election, we remember with the 2022 election, we are hoping that this will be a story of the past. The election of 2022 must be different. I'm determined to make it very, very different. My determination to make this election different does not begin with this conference. For me, it has been a journey of many years. It is the journey that has made us shake hands with His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta on March of 2018 to bring this country together and to violence, loss of lives and property. I'm determined to continue on that path of peace and unity and reconciliations. No lives, no property, no aspect of Kenya's economy must be lost because of elections of next month. No setting up of tribe against tribe will be witnessed. No setting up of one social class against another social class should be witnessed, or one faith against another, or one region against another. Kenya must go into this election as one nation and come out of it as one nation. I am sure my brother, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, would like to leave a legacy of a peaceful, efficient, and credible transition that carries the nation forward, not backwards. I'm determined to help make that ambition a reality. It would be a great win, but for Kenya and for the global community. As a party, we have had a number of concerns about the state of preparedness by the IEBC for this election. We have documented those concerns and shared them with the IEBC and the media. Our intention has never been to undermine the IEBC or to constructive benefit of the nation. Ours has been to help IEBC get its act together and conduct a free, fair, and credible election that will carry the country forward and cement Kenya's position as an emerging democracy on this continent. It is our hope, therefore, as Azimio la Umoja, that our concerns are constantly being reviewed and addressed by the IEBC, and that on the material day, everything that is required for the election to be seen as free and fair and credible will be in place. I only wish to underscore that a free and fair and credible election does not happen on the elections day. The process leading to the elections day is as important as the day itself, and it makes the election seem much more credible. I appeal to IEBC not to let Kenyans down. I appeal to institutions of this nation, the security agencies, the civil service to stand up and be firm for our nation and our democracy. We owe it to our country, we owe it to ourselves. I welcome the interests that the international community has expressed in this election. It is an indicator of the high esteem in which our development partners hold Kenya as an anchor democracy and economy in this part of the world. It is an honor. I will do everything in my power to safeguard and reciprocate. Leaders in Washington, D.C., London, Addis Ababa, and many countries. I've also met here in Nairobi with ambassadors and high commissioners of a number of countries on the issue of the upcoming elections. In all these meetings, I've expressed my hope that we will get through this election as peaceful as possible, and then we will get down to the critical work that beckons of carrying this nation forward. These commitments remain. We have also this election to linger. I appeal, therefore, as I conclude, to all Kenyans to embrace peace. Let's be hopeful for our nation. Let's emerge from the elections stronger and better, preferably with Raila Amolo Odinga as president. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you. I would like to encourage all presidential candidates to, that this workshop, this conference for 2 days will be dealing with all matters election. Please send your representatives or stay around, and it will be an enriching conference. Now I invite Professor George Wachakoya, the presidential candidate for Roots Party.
The chairman of IEBC. Before I speak, I would like to apologize for my voice because I've been in the mountain for almost 8 days. I was not even bitten by a mosquito. No stone was thrown against me, and there was no heckling. Your Excellencies, the European Commission, the UNDP, and the UN, the UK High Commissioner, the American Embassy present, and all the ambassadors and protocols observed, the religious leaders, as well as the presidential candidates or their representatives present, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, and to thank you very much for listening to a man who is so much ragged. A lot of people think that I'm crazy, but the Almighty God created me this way. I'll also take this opportunity to thank the British High Commission and the Americans who are present here for having given me an opportunity in exile for those many years that I stayed in UK and the US, and for those many years that I got the support from the British people as well as the American people, and for those many years that I stayed in those countries as a refugee, and for those many years that I learned a lot about peace and the coexistence of human beings. I would particularly take this opportunity to thank the universities that I went to in the UK, starting from the University of Wolverhampton, where I did my bachelor's degree, the University of London School of Oriental and African Studies, where I did my first master's, the University of Warwick, where I did a master's, University of Westminster, where I did my legal practice course, and other universities to follow like Birkbeck and what have you had, to join the University of Baltimore, where I did a Master's of Law in the laws of the US before I took the Washington, D.C. bar. Why am I taking this unconventional approach while addressing men and women of honor? The point that I'm trying to make here is that it has come to the realization of the many who may not have done their conjugal research that I am a British citizen. I wish I was, relating that I'm a British citizen, and I think I will be one day, who knows. Now, let me also take this opportunity to thank those who have been with me in the mountains, those who have never thrown stones at me, those who have not heckled me, those who have not told lies without preference of researching. And most of those who have been talking are people who are men and women of honor. Now, for the IEBC, and I know that our colleagues have been here asking for more times, I don't like